Alright, part 3. I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. My ex-husband and I were divorcing. I moved in with a friend of mine in Texas. Because I had military insurance, there were only a few doctors in the area that took my insurance. None of them would touch me. And because the fusion was broken, I needed to try to get it redone. That left me with two choices: move back in with my ex-husband and his girlfriend, or move to live with another friend of mine in Arizona. I chose Arizona. In Arizona, I saw an orthopedic surgeon who was fantastic, and he went ahead and did the fusion a second time. Sadly, that one didn't work either. Instead, I got what's called pseudoarthrosis. What that means is, instead of fusing solid, my body grew a rather thin bone covering over the joint, so that on an x-ray it looked solid, yet on a CAT scan you could see that behind that thin bone covering the joint was still there. Because the bone covering is very thin, of course, it broke. There were many different reasons for it to break, but the biggest reason was that it never healed right. The end result was a permanent compound fracture. It's never healed. I have had more fractures. My current husband and I had met back in 1990, either late 96 or early 97, and we were just really close friends because I was married. I needed to leave Arizona. I was in a bad situation, an abusive situation. Because my disability payments are so low, I can't afford to live on my own with two children. There's just no way. Hence, I moved in with friends. I moved back to Florida. I moved in with my now husband, Ron, on June 21st, 2000. To explain pseudoarthrosis, sorry, I meant to do that. Here's your joint, your SI joint, and this is the pseudoarthrosis. On an x-ray, which looks straight on, just like you see here, it looks solid. There's no space for the joint. However, on a CAT scan, which takes slice views, the space behind the bone, the thin bone covering, was very visible. And that's how it healed. It never healed properly to begin with, and most likely that's what happened with the first fusion, and that's why it broke. So that's what pseudoarthrosis is. I've been living now in the Panhandle of Florida since June 21st, 2000. My husband and I get along extremely well, and we're both very happy with each other. I consider myself extremely lucky with him. He does not see me as broken. He does not see me as just a disabled person. He sees me as Missy, as the person I am. And I just happen to have back and pelvic issues. And for that I am extremely grateful. He's always there for me, no matter what. He's very supportive, he's very understanding, compassionate, empathetic. He will do anything to help me, and he's had to do a lot. He's had to carry me in and out of the bathroom, getting me on and off the toilet, in and out of the shower. On occasion, he's had to help me dress because I couldn't move my legs. Somebody had to lift them and move them for me. And many other things, multiple doctor's appointments, medication, you name it, but he's been there for all of it. My first pain management doctor here turned out to be an egomaniacal, arrogant bastard. I was 31 when I moved here. This guy told me that there's no such thing as breakthrough pain, that there's no way I can be in that much pain because I'm only 31 and 31-year-olds don't feel that much pain. I didn't know nerves were based on age, which they're not. Oh, he was just horrible. I mean, he threatened to call every other pain management doctor in town, and at that time there were only 3, him and 2 others, and tell them to not give me an appointment. He would tell them all I was a drug addict if I tried to, change doctors. He did not listen to me at all. He insisted on doing injections into my SI joint, which, come to find out, and this doctor is where I basically learned I have to advocate for myself, because if I don't, I'm going to get hurt. Maybe if I had advocated for myself and, looked things up instead of just doing what the doctors said, because they're supposed to know better, I may not have done the fusion in the first place. I may not have just sat back and let my primary care physician way back in, the early 90s, screw me over until my disc ruptured or blew up. He insisted on doing injections into my SI joint. Now, my understanding of these injections, which I learned the hard way, is you are not supposed to attempt to inject the SI joint without fluoroscopy, which is similar to like an X-ray. It's too easy to hit the nerve, it's too easy to hit the wrong spot and cause permanent harm to the patient. Add in the fact that I've got a plate and a 6-inch screw across the, the top part of the joint, like up here instead of down here, but up here. And they usually inject at the top part of the joint. He put the needle in and literally just started digging it around to get it up behind the joint, or behind the plate. When he pulled the needle out, it was literally bent like this. And he had the audacity to yell at me because I started crying because it hurt so bad. For over a year, the 18 months I went with him, I was his patient. The last 12 months, they took my blood pressure every month, and my blood pressure was high, like 140/110. They never told me. They wouldn't let me read my blood pressure numbers off the machine. I was not allowed to look at my records, anything. So here he was letting my blood pressure run out of control. It was just a mess. I finally switched doctors without telling him, and I did not call his office and inform them that I was no longer his patient until after I had seen my new doctor and was sure that he would be willing to treat me. No, I did not fill 2 prescriptions from 2 different doctors at the same time. The appointment with my new doctor was a month from my last appointment, so I was out of medication. And once I saw that doctor and he wrote the prescriptions and all that, I called back the anesthesiologist and canceled my appointment and told them I won't be coming back. To speed it up a little bit, since then I've had other injuries due to falling, which sadly I do quite a bit. Now, I mentioned my son's best friend who was badly injured in 2010, 2nd and 3rd degree burns over like half of his face, his throat, his chest, both arms, both hands. It was pretty bad. Their insurance had a very high copay or deductible before it would start covering things. So I did a bunch of fundraising activities to raise the money to meet their deductible. And I got very close to it, so that was good. But in the process, I pushed myself way too hard and for way too long, and I did a lot of damage. As a result, my pain went through the roof. I could no longer stand. For the first 6 or 8 months after that, I could not stand for more than 2 minutes. Literally. My legs would give out. My pain would just go through the roof. It was agony. Eventually, I reached the point I'm at now. I can stand for 5 to 7 minutes before everything goes crazy and my legs give out and I fall, which I do roughly 3 to 4 times a week. And every time I fall, it's very dangerous. So I try very hard not to stand on my feet for more than 3 or 4 minutes, which seriously cuts down on mobility. My depression got extremely bad. I stopped engaging in any social activities. I stopped emailing people. I stopped posting to my blogs. I stopped doing my hobbies. I just kind of shut down is the best way to describe it. At my last doctor's visit, they changed my antidepressant to Cymbalta, and it seems to be helping. My pain level has dropped a little bit. It's not as sharp or intense as it has been for the last 2 years, which is great. I feel better mentally. I feel more awake. I want to do things again, which is nice. For the first time in 2 years, I actually managed to cook dinner twice in 1 week, and neither time did I end up in a pain crisis crying in bed, which is what would normally happen in the last 2 years if I even tried to cook dinner. So the Cymbalta is doing something, and I've been on it for about a month. So it takes 6 to 8 weeks to see the maximum benefit or the full benefit. So I'm just hoping it stays like this. If it stays like this, I'm more than happy. I've been working really hard. I got some books. The Pain Survival Guide, How to Reclaim Your Life, and one called Managing Pain Before It Manages You. These books are designed to help chronic pain patients learn ways of dealing with their pain more effectively without more medication. And that's what I want. So I've started keeping a pain journal, as the books recommend, and I will go over that in another video. I've learned more about how chronic pain works. I've always known that when I was stressed or overly emotional, that makes my pain worse. I now know why. I learned that my negative self-talk, what they call in the book catastrophic thoughts, would make my pain worse. I didn't believe it when I first read it, but I figured it couldn't hurt to follow the advice and try. So every time I started having the catastrophic thoughts running through my head over and over, I deliberately changed my thoughts to something positive. Anything positive. Something as simple as I took out the trash from the trash can next to my side of the bed. And I did notice a difference. The more positive I felt mentally, my perception of my pain got better, which was good. It didn't drop the pain level, but things did get better. Well, that's where I stand right now. I have a lot of topic ideas, so look for the new videos, and I hope everybody is having a decent day, low pain day, and I'll talk to you later.